Hi everyone, here's Ron. Welcome to my new video. This time I'm again in Sacramento, California, and the topic of today's video is how people live in America. So let's go. I do have several topics to cover, and one is like how the people generally live. I don't know where you're from, if you're not from here, if you're an immigrant as well. You might be coming from different country, from Europe. A lot of people in Europe live in apartment buildings, apartment complexes, like especially the blocks, the kind of large buildings. In America, it's more common to live in a house, and a lot of people rent houses or own houses to buy them, and it's not very common to live in apartments. There are some exceptions though, and especially like big cities like New York City, where I spent about 1 month when I came here. I lived in Brooklyn, and there were like big apartment buildings everywhere. They are like high-rise blocks with many floors, and people live there. It's very, very common in New York, but I think it's one of the exceptions. And if you go to different states and cities, you will have more people living in houses. So here in California, a lot of people live in a house, and especially when I have a family. And my tip, if you're new in America, if you're just coming here, if you're an immigrant, or if you want to stay an extended period of time, and if you just arrived, I would recommend actually to rent an Airbnb. It's a very, very good way to start, and it keeps you flexible. This is actually what I'm doing. So after I've been in New York and I kind of lived there for 1 month, I moved to Florida, and from then on I only lived in Airbnbs, and I booked them from starting from 3 nights and often for 1 week. And when I stayed in one city, I usually book for a week, and then I'm flexible to decide, do you want to move on or do you want to move to another neighborhood. And it was always very unproblematic, very convenient, and this is what I'm keep doing. And right now here in California, I live in a house, and it's a very beautiful house. It has a garden. It has like backyard, very nice backyard with chairs and sofas, and it has a fully equipped kitchen with everything what I need to be able to cook, and everything is furnished, and I really enjoy that. It feels like being a local actually, and like living here. And usually I would go shopping for food, and I come back and I cook some lunch, cook some breakfast. I don't need to eat out all the time, and it's very convenient. It's very, very convenient, and I like this experience. So it allows me to test different neighborhoods, and this is one of the reasons you can just test if you deciding to move to America or deciding to move in general to a different state. You can just go there and stay in an Airbnb and test, and it keeps you very flexible instead of worrying about signing a lease and then signing it for 1 year, and then you realize you don't like it, or you can't find any jobs here or anything like that. So yeah, this is my recommendation, to do that instead first. And I had so far a really good experience. Like my experience in New York was very different. Like I was very new, and I thought I should find actually a room or apartment. So I was looking. It's very hard if you're an immigrant, if you're very new to America, and you don't have a credit history, because you need one if you're going through an agent. And what I did instead, I looked for classifieds, and I found a lot of landlords renting the rooms. They have like several bedrooms, and they're renting one room. It's very common in New York. The rents are very, very expensive. It's incredible. And but I really wanted to live in New York. It was like on my bucket list to live there for 1 month. And I found a landlord who was renting one of his bedrooms, and I decided to give it a try. So I stayed there for 1 month, and it wasn't that of a good experience, because yeah, it's a different type of mindset. People who are doing Airbnb, they're very customer focused, and they're all about hospitality, but in this case it wasn't a very good experience. I was happy actually to leave after 1 month, so it didn't work that well. And yeah, my advice about New York: you have to watch your back, because there are a lot of dishonest people and trying to screw you, and that can happen. So you have to watch your back. You have to be very careful. Always sign a lease. Always sign about the if you pay a deposit, you have to sign that and request and that you get any kind of receipt for that. So the landlord I was in, he didn't want to do that for some reason. I found out he's renting out this bedroom illegally because he's renting it himself, and then so it wasn't a very good living situation. But that's a story, another story. Anyway, after I left New York, I went to Florida, and it was from then on it was a really good experience. So in Florida, I visited Orlando, I visited Tampa, I visited Panama City, and then Pensacola, and always rented an Airbnb, the best one so far. It was in Orlando. It was a really nice neighborhood. It was a 5-bedroom home, and it was very, very beautifully decorated. They had a coffee machine, they had coffee included, so, and they had a kitchen, and very, very nice owners. Even the lift on the lower floor and the ground floor, and I lived on the second one. I didn't see them that often because they were away most of the time. So I had actually I rented only 1 bedroom, but I had the whole house for myself, and it worked out really well. And I had a lot of privacy for a very, very good price. So I find actually in my experience renting an Airbnb, especially if you're like single, you're traveling by yourself, it's cheaper than sometimes more affordable, or it makes more sense than renting an apartment. So I highly recommend to try Airbnb when you come here, if you're new in this country, and if you want to be flexible. And the same experience was in Tampa. I had a whole house for myself, even I booked only 1 room. Yeah, I found out actually the owner wanted to sell the house. It wasn't on a listing already, but he had furnished 1 bedroom and was renting it out. So I had the whole house for myself. And in Pensacola, I was staying in a house with a very nice owner. It was an older lady, and she was very hospitality focused, and yeah, it was a good experience basically to live in homes, and you really feel like a local. Like when you stay here, you explore the neighborhood, and you get a feel if the city actually is something for you or not, and you don't have to commit. So I don't recommend committing too fast and then regretting it. And one advice about New York, if it's still like you dream to live in New York, just be ready, and just know that a lot of people will prey on you immigrants, and so we just watch your back, be careful. I was lucky, so I even the landlord tried to scam me, and I knew what's going on, so I dodged it. And I'm very happy I didn't commit for the whole 12 months. Otherwise I would have lost my money, and it would be a very bad situation to be in. But from now on, I'm just traveling. The next cities I'm gonna visit will be Los Angeles, and after that San Diego, and after that I will see. There's still some places I want to see. I got a rental car for about 3 weeks, and I'm actually very happy so to stay flexible like that for this time being, because I got a really good deal with the rental car. It's not that expensive, and I can just drop it off at the airport when I'm finished with my California trip, and then I fly to the next place and do the same, or rent a rental car for 2 or 3 weeks, and I have time to explore, so I don't need to worry about anything. The insurance is included already, and so far it's a very good experience. And if you have any questions, please write in the comments any questions you have about living in America, or any suggestions for the next video. And in the meantime, don't forget to hit this like button and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.